All right, what is up, tycoons? What's up, traders? Super excited for today's video. We are going to take a look at Casper, ticker symbol CSPR. But before we go into the charts and look at the technicals, we're actually going to cover some of the recent news around Casper and maybe even some previous news that you guys weren't aware of. Casper is one of my favorite low market cap altcoins. And so we're going to dive into it and really just go over some of the things that I like about it and look at the potential setups on the chart when it comes to the technical analysis. So make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Remember, none of this video is financial advice. Rather, this is just some data, and I'm going to be presenting that to you guys and trying to do so in an unbiased manner. So we'll hop on over and go ahead and take a look at our presentation we've got prepared for today and jump right into it. So Casper has a very bullish sentiment score. All right. And there's a couple reasons for that. Some news came out here recently, and we're going to dive into that. But Skybridge, AI Mascari holding partner with blockchain firm Casper Labs. So essentially, these two just partnered up. And Casper, which provides enterprise grade blockchain services, also recently announced a tie up with Google Cloud. So these are big partnerships, right? They are partnered up with Google Cloud. That's big news. Skybridge Capital is the Anthony Scaramucci-led global investment firm, and the AI Mascari family's holding company said they will provide strategic support, including business development, investor relations, and marketing services to Casper Labs, a blockchain software company focused on enterprise and government. Now, he told CoinDesk in an interview that we think it's not just for financial services, but could be used across the whole spectrum, including cloud computing, right? And so Google kind of agrees with that too, right? And they have that tie up with Google Cloud. Every decision we've made is for enterprise and government usage. Co-founder and CEO Minral Manohar told CoinDesk, if you think about most blockchains, the way they've been built is to almost create a shadow economy, in the sense that if an enterprise or government wanted to use that technology, it would mandate almost a full teardown of their existing tech infrastructure. Now, the AR Mascari family has a deep network of contacts in the United Arab Emirates, a region that turned bullish on blockchain technology fairly early. So they may be able to use some of that, those connections to really tap in to those really wealthy people over there in the United Arab Emirates, and potentially, introduce some new whales to Casper, right? Now, Casper, if you don't know already, is a versatile blockchain with large growth. All right. It's a live proof of stake blockchain built up off the Casper CBC specification. It comes with a grand ambition to fast track the adoption of blockchain technology, smart contracts, and dApps, which are decentralized applications on a global scale. The future-proof architecture of Casper is flexible enough to meet the evolving needs of users, thus allowing it to reach developers of all backgrounds. Intuitive, interconnected services are at the heart of the ecosystem, offering enterprise-grade security, scalability, and decentralization, all within the same blockchain protocol. Now, some of the key highlights of Casper is that the network is extremely versatile in terms of use cases. It's got a future-proof design with upgradable smart contracts and predictable gas fees for transactions, a new standard for blockchain energy consumption that will be 136,000% more energy efficient than Bitcoin, and correct by construction CBC Casper specification allows for the rapid adoption of blockchain services at all enterprise levels, simplifying scalability and database management solutions. Now, if you didn't know, Casper has partnered with AWS as well, right? So, they're partnered here with Amazon and AWS. They were thrilled to announce that they have a partnership with the Amazon Web Services to give developers and organizations building on the Casper network the ability to directly deploy node infrastructures and design private networks for product testing via AWS. Casper AWS Quick Start is a big milestone and makes it even easier for developers worldwide to access and build on Web3 seamlessly, said Carlos Moreira, founder and CEO of WiseKey, which is a leading cybersecurity company deploying large-scale digital identity ecosystems for blockchain users. This ability significantly reduces friction in setting up infrastructure for the Casper network for individual developers, as well as organizations like WiseKey, which uses Casper for its digital identification NFT platform to deliver authenticated digital twins to the art and luxury markets. Building the best-in-class blockchain enterprise solution entails creating convenient on-ramps for developers looking to design and deploy Web3 applications, and our partnership with AWS is a massive step in the right direction. We're excited by the new opportunities this collaboration provides for businesses looking to future-proof their operations and look forward to seeing what our community comes up with next. Now, that was some of the news. Okay, some of the older news is that Amazon stuff, but recently they partnered up with Google Cloud, right? We have the Mascari Skybridge deal. So now we're going to go into the technicals, and this is the daily structure that we've really been tracking along with some of the RSI and MACD signals. So, Casper has been following the technical analysis very, very well. Okay, one thing that I want to highlight right here is we had this similar triangle pattern right here, and we ended up getting it here again over as well. And last time it played out, we got a nice breakout to the upside, right? And so, I made a video once we had this pattern, and I said this was going to be our overhead supply zone, this red area right here. And sure enough, we came up, hit some of our price targets, all right around 0.044 as well as 0.048. Ultimately, we came back down after getting that breakout. But, as I mentioned, it's been following the technicals very, very well, right? Like we had a bull flag over here. We got the breakout into the bullish price targets, our overhead supply zone here, consolidated. We broke this trend line, put in a bear flag, and we continue to head lower. We retested this demand zone here. And once we were in this demand zone, we were looking to see if we were going to get a 5-wave impulsive move to take us up here to our overhead supply zone. And sure enough, we got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we hit our targets here as well. At this point, we were expecting some type of a pullback, and we held above our major support levels that we needed to, right? And then we got the breakout here of that pattern. And here recently, okay, we've tested this level again. So we're going to break down some of the recent stuff, but I want to break down some of the strategies that we use that's really been helpful in trading Casper. Okay. Now, the first thing we're going to take a look at here is going to be a bearish divergence. So we have some circles on the chart. Notice how we have a low and then a lower low right here, right? So the token's clearly in a downtrend going lower in price. But if you look at your RSI, this is your relative strength index. It's going to give you the relative strength of a token at its given price. And we end up making a low and then a series of higher lows there, right? So now we're actually building relative strength, making higher lows while the price of the token was making lower lows. We combine that bullish divergence with the chart pattern and also with a MACD crossover to the upside, which is bullish, okay, the red line crossing above the blue line. And ultimately, we had about 3 things saying that we could see a breakout here, right? Now, here recently, we've actually put in a bearish divergence. So we had a high, okay, and then we had a higher high right here. So now the token's clearly in an uptrend, but we look back at our RSI and we see we have a high and then a lower high. So the price of the token is the price of the token's going up, but we're actually losing relative strength right here. And it created this bearish divergence trend line. And I said, if we're bullish on this, we're going to need to break out past this bearish divergence trend line, flip it to support, and that ultimately would be what we want to see. We didn't want to see what's happening right now, which was a look above and fail, right? And the reason that that's important is because bulls were presented the opportunity here on this breakout to really push price higher and break through this overhead supply zone, right? But as you can see, we got a breakout, right? And we broke out past the RSI trend line. But ultimately, buyers failed and bulls failed and prices pushed back down lower. So we didn't get the breakout that we were looking for, but we're still holding some key levels. So it's going to be interesting now. Does this continue to be a resistance level on the RSI? And do we continue to head lower? Or are we going to actually get the real breakout on this bearish divergence trend line when it comes to the RSI? If we zoom in a little bit more, remember I highlighted this pattern in the last slide, okay? We had this pattern here that worked out very well in the past. If you take a look, it's actually developing again right now currently, right? We're seeing, again, this symmetrical triangle pattern forming here, and we're going to be looking to see, do we get a breakdown to the downside, or can we get a breakout to the upside and ultimately break through this overhead supply zone, which is a big area of resistance from about 0.044 to about 0.048. If not, we're most likely going to come back down and test the 0.035 region. That's going to be our demand zone down below. So it'll be really interesting to see how this thing plays out. If we zoom in a little bit more, which we've done on this chart, we can actually see the MACD is curling to the downside right now, which, that's the beginning of an exit signal. So it's going to be really interesting to see, can this MACD line curl back up Or if it starts to really create some space between that red line and that blue line and head lower, most likely we're going to end up seeing a breakdown on this pattern and retest this demand zone and see if we can find support here or potentially drop lower. And maybe if we find support here, we can get a look below and fail, right? And actually come back into this region where bears were presented the opportunity after breaking the trend line and really had no follow through, weren't able to step in, and then bulls come back in and push the market up higher. Right. So there's a few things we want to look for. Now, there is another pattern that we could possibly be having here on Casper, and that's going to be the double top / M pattern. Okay. So if you take a look, right, we have, top here, we have a top here. We're double topping right around our supply zone again. And this could end up forming an M pattern, which that would bring Casper all the way down to about the 0.032 area if this M pattern here is going to play out. As I mentioned, we have the crossover to the downside. So we do need to use some caution right now, because if we continue to drop lower and break through this demand zone, most likely we're going to retest some of those lows around the 0.032 area and really get that M pattern to play out. So, again, if you're bullish, you want to see this MACD curl back above the red line, curl back above the blue line. You want to see this initial bearish divergence trend line. You want to see us really get a good breakout and flip that to support from resistance. Okay. And you're going to want to see, if we test this demand zone here, you're going to want to see buyers step in quickly and push price up higher. You're not really going to want to see it consolidate too much. We're gonna be looking for buyers to, quickly push price back up out of this demand zone and see if we can come up, retest our supply zone up above for a third time, and potentially put in a triple top. But the more times you test a zone, you test a level, the weaker it gets, right? The supply zone is simply an imbalance of sell orders. And each time we come in this zone, sell orders are being filled, right? So you have to question, are people replacing the sell orders being filled up here and keep on replenishing it? Or are these sell orders filling, and by the time we come up to test this zone again, is there still going to be an imbalance of sell orders, and aka a supply zone? Or is there going to be rather a demand imbalance, because now there's no more sell orders, or there's a very small amount of sell orders as they keep getting filled? And if that happens, then that could ultimately drive price up and really give us the breakout past 0.048. Now, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and I'm out.